I am about to show you the specific vegetables that can actively reverse the feelings of mental fatigue and protect your memory by supplying your aging brain with the precise fuels it struggles to access as you get older. We often accept brain fog and low energy as a normal part of aging, but frequently, these are not signs of decline, but signals of a specific nutritional deficit that standard advice overlooks. I'm Dr. James Williams. I am a 35-year-old physician, and I have spent years helping older adults regain their mental sharpness and physical vitality through targeted nutrition rather than just medication. I have seen patients who believed they were developing early dementia simply because their brains were starving for the right compounds to facilitate proper blood flow and repair. You may have noticed that you feel exhausted by mid-afternoon, or that finding the right word during a conversation takes just a second longer than it used to. These are subtle symptoms, but they are your body's way of asking for help. Your current diet might be healthy by general standards, but it may lack the specific bioavailability required for a body over 60, leaving your neurons without the protection they need against daily wear and tear. 1. The nitric oxide booster. Consume beetroot or beetroot juice regularly to naturally dilate your blood vessels and force oxygen-rich blood into the deep, hard-to-reach areas of your brain. As we age, our blood vessels naturally stiffen and become less flexible, a condition that restricts blood flow to the frontal lobe, the area responsible for decision-making and working memory. Beetroots are rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide, a powerful molecule that relaxes and widens these vessels, restoring youthful circulation patterns and ensuring your brain cells receive the oxygen they need to fire efficiently. I recall a patient named Martha, aged 74, who complained of constantly feeling mentally cold and slow, as if her thoughts were moving through molasses. She had cold hands and feet, a sign of poor circulation, and she worried her memory was failing. We added a small glass of beetroot juice to her daily lunch routine. Within 3 weeks, not only did her extremities feel warmer, but she reported a significant lifting of her brain fog, describing her thinking as sharper and quicker than it had been in years. The mechanism here is purely vascular. Your brain uses 20% of your body's oxygen, and if the delivery system is compromised by stiff arteries, performance drops immediately. Nitric oxide acts like a biological signaling mechanism that tells the smooth muscle in your arteries to relax. When you eat beets, you are effectively opening up the highways of your circulatory system. Recent studies using MRI scans have shown that older adults who consume beetroot juice before performing cognitive tasks have blood flow patterns in their brains that resemble those of much younger people. This is not about energy in the sense of a sugar rush. It is about capacity and fuel delivery. To get this benefit, you do not need to eat an excessive amount, but consistency is key. You can roast beets to bring out their natural sweetness, which makes them palatable, or grate raw beets into a salad. However, the most potent method for older adults is often a small 4-ounce glass of beetroot juice, as it is concentrated and easy to digest. If you choose to roast them, try not to overcook them to the point of mush, as you want to preserve the nitrates. A simple side dish of roasted beets 3 times a week is a therapeutic dose for your vascular system. Be cautious if you are prone to kidney stones, specifically oxalate stones, as beets are high in oxalates. In that case, consult your doctor first or choose a different vascular support. This restores the physical supply line of oxygen to your cognitive center. 2. The absorption rule. Always eat spinach and other dark leafy greens with a healthy source of fat to ensure you actually absorb the neuroprotective vitamins that prevent cognitive decline. Many seniors dutifully eat their salads with fat-free dressing or plain steamed greens, believing they are making a heart-healthy choice. However, the critical brain nutrients in spinach, specifically vitamin K, vitamin E, and lutein, are fat-soluble. This means they literally cannot be absorbed by your digestive tract unless they are dissolved in fat. Eating greens without fat means you are flushing nearly all of that brain-protecting nutrition down the toilet. Vitamin K is particularly crucial for seniors because it is involved in the synthesis of sphingolipids, a type of fat that packs into the coating of your nerve cells, essential for fast signal transmission. Without adequate fat during the meal, your intake of vitamin K is negligible. Lutein, also found in spinach, accumulates in the brain and has been linked to crystallized intelligence, or the ability to use the knowledge and experience you have acquired over your life. By skipping the fat, you are effectively starving your brain of the tools it needs to maintain its structure and processing speed. I treated a gentleman named David, 68, who was very strict about a low-fat diet because he wanted to lose weight, yet he felt cognitively sluggish and his skin looked dry. He was eating massive amounts of plain spinach but seeing no benefit. I convinced him to add half an avocado or a tablespoon of olive oil to his greens. The change was not just physical, his mental endurance improved. He realized that by fearing fat, he had been blocking the very nutrients he was trying to get from his vegetables. He wasn't lacking discipline, he was lacking the chemical carrier for the medicine. The implementation of this rule is simple but non-negotiable. Whenever you have spinach, kale, or collard greens, you must pair them with a lipid. Drizzle extra virgin olive oil over your cooked spinach. Slice fresh avocado into your salad. You could even add a handful of walnuts. You do not need a lot. Just about 5 to 10 grams of fat is enough to activate the absorption pathways. Avoid boiling spinach and throwing away the water if you can help it, or if you do, add the fat immediately afterwards. This ensures that the healthy food on your plate actually makes it into your brain cells. 3. The glucose stabilizer. Replace white potatoes and refined starches with sweet potatoes to provide a slow-burning, steady fuel source that prevents mental exhaustion in the afternoon. The brain is an energy-hungry organ that runs almost exclusively on glucose, but it requires a steady supply, not a flood. When you eat white bread or white potatoes, your blood sugar spikes rapidly, giving you a burst of energy that is quickly followed by a crash. For a senior, this crash often manifests as confusion, irritability, or an overwhelming need for a nap, which can disrupt your sleep cycle later that night. Sweet potatoes are rich in complex carbohydrates and fiber, which digest much more slowly than white starches. This slow digestion releases glucose into the bloodstream at a consistent, measured pace. This is critical for the aging brain, which can become less efficient at utilizing glucose, a phenomenon sometimes called cerebral insulin resistance. By providing a steady drip of fuel rather than a fire hose, you allow your neurons to function at optimal capacity for hours without the metabolic stress of navigating high and low blood sugar swings. Additionally, the orange color indicates high levels of beta-carotene, a potent antioxidant that fights oxidative stress in the brain. I remember a patient, Eleanor, a 70-year-old retired accountant who loved to read but found herself reading the same page over and over again around 3 p.m. She usually had a sandwich or pasta for lunch. We swapped her lunch side to a baked sweet potato. She reported that her 3 p.m. wall disappeared. She was able to read continuously through the afternoon with focused attention. It wasn't a stimulant that helped her, it was simply swapping a volatile fuel source for a stable one. To get the most out of this, bake or steam your sweet potatoes with the skin on, as the skin contains much of the fiber that regulates digestion. An excellent trick for seniors is to cook the sweet potatoes ahead of time and let them cool down before eating them. The cooling process turns some of the starch into resistant starch, which feeds the healthy bacteria in your gut and blunts the blood sugar response even further. You can reheat them gently, but that initial cooling period adds an extra layer of metabolic protection. This prevents the energy volatility that mimics cognitive decline. 4. The cellular shield. Eat broccoli, specifically lightly steamed, to activate a compound called sulforaphane that strengthens the blood-brain barrier and aids in cellular repair. As we age, the barrier that protects our brain from toxins in the blood can become leaky, allowing inflammatory substances to enter and damage neurons. Sulforaphane is one of the most potent natural activators of the NRF2 pathway, a genetic switch that turns on the body's own antioxidant defense system. It doesn't just provide antioxidants, it teaches your cells how to make their own, creating a lasting shield against inflammation. However, broccoli has a secret. The compound sulforaphane does not exist in the whole vegetable. It is created when two precursors, glucoraphanin and the enzyme myrosinase, mix together. This mixing happens when you chew or chop the vegetable. If you boil broccoli until it is mushy, you destroy the enzyme, and you get almost zero sulforaphane. For seniors who might be accustomed to boiling vegetables for softness, this means they are missing the primary medicinal benefit of the food. You need the enzyme to survive the cooking process to unlock the brain-protecting magic. I worked with a patient named Samuel, 73, who was recovering from a severe viral illness and felt his mind was cloudy and inflamed long after the virus was gone. He was eating boiled broccoli soup, thinking it was healthy. We changed his preparation method to light steaming and encouraged him to chew thoroughly. Over the course of a month, alongside other recovery protocols, he noticed a significant reduction in that inflamed, heavy feeling in his head. The sulforaphane was helping to reestablish the integrity of his blood-brain barrier, allowing his brain to finally clear out the metabolic waste. The hack for this is specific. Chop your broccoli into florets and then, this is the most important part, let them sit on the cutting board for about 30 to 40 minutes before you cook them. This resting period allows the enzyme to create the sulforaphane before the heat hits it. Once the compound is formed, it is heat stable. After the wait, steam the broccoli lightly for just 3 to 4 minutes until it is bright green and tender crisp. If you cannot chew it easily, you can puree it after this process, but do not boil it to death. This reinforces the physical wall that keeps toxins out of your brain. 5. The adrenal support. Choose red bell peppers instead of oranges or citrus fruits as your primary source of vitamin C to support your stress response system without triggering acid reflux. Many seniors are told to drink orange juice for energy, but the high acidity can be hard on the digestive lining and the high sugar content can lead to a crash. However, your adrenal glands, the tiny organs sitting on top of your kidneys that manage your energy and stress hormones, use up more vitamin C than almost any other organ in your body. When you are deficient in vitamin C, you can feel a specific type of fatigue where you are physically exhausted but mentally wired and unable to relax. Red bell peppers are a superior choice because they contain nearly 3 times the vitamin C of an orange, gram for gram, with a fraction of the sugar and no harsh acidity. This high concentration of vitamin C is essential for the production of cortisol and adrenaline in a controlled, healthy way. By supplying your adrenals with the raw materials they need, you help your body handle daily stressors, like cold weather, poor sleep, or emotional stress, without burning out. It turns a volatile energy system into a resilient one, keeping you steady throughout the day, rather than fluctuating between anxiety and exhaustion. I treated a patient named Margaret, 76, who suffered from chronic fatigue and severe heartburn. She was drinking 2 glasses of orange juice every morning to boost her immunity and wake up. The acid was irritating her esophagus, causing pain that tired her out even more. We swapped the juice for sliced red bell peppers with her lunch. Her heartburn resolved within days, but more importantly, she reported that her energy levels felt more sustainable and calm. She wasn't getting the sugar spike, but she was getting a massive dose of the nutrient her stress glands were screaming for. To incorporate this, treat red bell peppers as a snack or a salad topper rather than a cooked vegetable, as heat can destroy some of the vitamin C. Slice them into strips and keep them in the fridge for an easy, crunchy afternoon snack. They are naturally sweet and require no dressing. Even eating half of a large red pepper provides well over 100% of your daily vitamin C requirement, filling your adrenal reserves without upsetting your stomach acidity. This fuels your body's stress management center without the digestive cost. 6. The homocysteine regulator. Add asparagus to your weekly rotation to actively lower levels of homocysteine, a toxic amino acid that is strongly linked to brain shrinkage and cognitive decline. Homocysteine is a byproduct of normal protein digestion, but if it builds up in your bloodstream, it damages the lining of your arteries and is toxic to brain cells. High levels are a known risk factor for Alzheimer's and stroke. To break it down and render it harmless, your body desperately needs folate, vitamin B9, and asparagus is one of the densest natural sources of bioavailable folate you can find. While you can take B vitamin supplements, the folate found in food like asparagus is often better absorbed and utilized by the body's methylation cycle, the process that cleans the blood of toxins. For seniors, maintaining low homocysteine is one of the most effective ways to preserve brain volume. Studies have shown that lowering high homocysteine levels can slow the rate of brain atrophy. Asparagus acts as a natural cleanup crew, providing the chemical tools your liver needs to convert this toxic substance into helpful compounds like glutathione, the body's master antioxidant. I recall a patient, Henry, 69, whose blood work showed dangerously high homocysteine levels despite a relatively good diet. He was worried about his family history of stroke. He wasn't a fan of pills, so we looked at dietary interventions. I prescribed a serving of steamed asparagus 3 times a week. Combined with other B vitamin-rich foods, his levels dropped into the normal range within 3 months. He felt reassured knowing he was actively managing a major risk factor with his dinner fork, protecting his brain structure simply by changing his vegetable choice. The best way to eat asparagus for folate preservation is to steam it or roast it quickly. Do not boil it for long periods, as folate leaks out into the water. A simple method is to snap off the woody ends, toss the spears in a little olive oil, and roast them for 10 to 12 minutes until tender. The asparagus smell in urine that some people notice is harmless and simply indicates your body is metabolizing the vegetable's compounds. Do not let it deter you from this powerful brain food. This acts as a chemical detox for your brain's environment. 7. The 10-minute garlic hack. Crush or chop your garlic and let it sit for exactly 10 minutes before cooking it to maximize the production of allicin, a compound that improves cerebral blood flow and reduces inflammation. Similar to broccoli, the medicinal magic of garlic is not present in the whole clove. It relies on a chemical reaction between an enzyme, alliinase, and a protein, alliin, that only happens when the cell walls are broken. If you chop garlic and immediately throw it into a hot pan, the heat destroys the enzyme before the medicine, allicin, is created. You get the flavor, but you miss the vascular benefit. Allicin is a potent vasodilator and anti-inflammatory agent. For a senior, this means it helps to lower blood pressure naturally and reduces the systemic inflammation that can fog thinking. It also acts as a natural blood thinner, preventing the formation of microclots that can impede circulation to the tiny capillaries in the brain. By respecting the 10-minute rule, you turn a common flavor enhancer into a legitimate vascular therapy that keeps the pathways to your brain open and clear of inflammatory debris. I had a patient named George, 72, who was an excellent cook and used garlic in everything, yet he struggled with high blood pressure and circulation issues. He told me he chopped the garlic and tossed it straight into the sizzling oil. I explained the chemistry to him. He started chopping his garlic first, setting a timer, and prepping his other vegetables while he waited. It was a small change in workflow. Over time, combined with his medication, his blood pressure stabilized, and he felt he was getting more mileage out of his healthy diet. He realized he had been cooking the medicine out of his food for decades. To do this correctly, make garlic the very first thing you prep when you start cooking. Smash the cloves with the flat of your knife, peel them, chop them, and then leave them on the cutting board. Set a timer for 10 minutes. During this time, you can chop your onions, wash your greens, or get your meat ready. Once the 10 minutes are up, the allicin has formed and is surprisingly heat stable, meaning it will retain its power even after you saute or roast it. This simple pause unlocks a potent vascular protector for your cognitive health. Brain health is not just about genetics. It is heavily influenced by the daily fuel you provide to your neurons and blood vessels. By prioritizing nitric oxide from beets, combining fats with greens, choosing slow-burning sweet potatoes, steaming broccoli correctly, supporting your adrenals with peppers, managing homocysteine with asparagus, and activating garlic, you are building a biological defense against fatigue and decline. These are simple, grocery store solutions that turn your meals into medicine. If you know someone over 50 who could benefit from this, share this video and subscribe for more simple health tips.